Hello and welcome everyone. Curtis here. I have opened the queue just a couple of minutes early. That's just so everyone can settle in, get comfy, maybe grab a coffee or a tea, a little snack. And yeah, we'll kick things off at the top of the hour for me, so 12 p.m., whatever time it is where you are. I will be talking to you very soon, so hang tight and we'll get this going pretty quick here. Hello, this is Curtis again, as you probably guessed, but we are at the 1 minute warning, so we'll let everyone else get those last minute calendar invites and we will get started in just a second here. So I will be talking to you very soon. All right. Hello, howdy, and hi, and a big hearty greeting all the way from a very chilly and cold -40 today with the wind chill, Calgary, Alberta, Canada. My name is Curtis Dohaniak, and today I am joined by Silawath, and we are going to be your hosts and guides on our feature webinar presentation about Polaris, the self-driving PSA, which helps you deliver harmony with smart decisions. Now, today we have launched our brand new webinar series. These are spotlight webinars. So these drill down a little bit further into specific aspects of Polaris. So there's a lot of moving parts in Polaris, but today we are really going to focus in on the resource management spotlight, which is we'll cover that in a little bit, but yeah, it's going to be a little bit more concise. And we do have these webinars going this week and next week that are all covering different areas. So if there's anything else that interests you, feel free to tune into any of those other webinars and dive a little bit deeper into the platform. But first and foremost, what is Polaris? Polaris is a new approach to the professional services platform. It is so different than anything else on the market right now. It takes all the data that you input to our platform, it gives you real-time analysis, and as that is happening, it's going to spit out recommendations that will make it so easy for you to make the best decisions for your organization. And why did we create Polaris? Well, we knew there was a common problem amongst organizations. We've heard this before: I don't know what I don't know, or in this instance, I don't know what I can't see. And we knew that there were organizations that had large inefficiencies in their operations, but they didn't have the right data at the right time to be able to locate these inefficiencies. And well, if they couldn't see them, they couldn't fix them. And then they just continued and they snowballed and it made things get worse and worse. So we wanted to solve this. And this is why we created Polaris. And in this instance, we helped this organization find an extra $12 million in profits. And I don't think there's too many organizations out there that would be too disappointed with $12 million in extra profits. And what causes inefficiencies in an organization is, well, there are plenty of challenges when it comes to managing your data. And you're probably reading this list and you might be nodding your head at one, maybe a few of these, maybe all of these. And these are all common problems that Polaris can help you solve. So Polaris helps solve these key challenges by giving you 100% accurate data. We're taking all the information that you input to our system and we are cleansing it and making sure that it is clean and correct. And from there, we're going to analyze it. And in one swift motion, we're going to give you the recommendations that you need to make those decisions for your organization. And this leads to the decisions. You don't have to worry about pulling information from different areas, wondering if it's correct or accurate, or if it's even relevant. You're just getting the decisions, no arguments. We are creating cohesion, some harmony in your organization, and just allowing you to operate as efficiently as possible. And this also allows you to be proactive instead of reactive. So we are going to solve those problems before they even are problems. We're going to make sure we take care of anything that might be cropping up in the near future as it happens. Because no longer are you working on stale data. You don't have to wait for the end of a timesheet period or 2-3 weeks. Everything is happening in real time, so you get the information you need to understand your organization. This is Polaris, and it is the world's first self-driving PSA. So when we say self-driving, what we are referring to is this real-time analysis, and then we take this real-time analysis, give you the recommendations that you need to run your organization, and in turn, you will be able to be proactive and make those big decisions on the spot. And this is all possible due to SmartBeats. So SmartBeats is the heart of our platform. And SmartBeats is the real-time data entry into this platform. It is beyond demand, and every single piece of data that you enter will give you real-time visibility into what is happening in your organization. It will help you understand its pulse and understand how every single action will have a reaction. And all of this data that we harvest through our SmartBeats is displayed through our mission controls. So mission controls are 100% accurate dashboards that cover your entire organization that really help you understand exactly what is happening for each specific role. So they are function-based. So whether you are a practice leader, client leader, project leader, resource leader, or a finance leader, or even just an end user, you will have a mission control that is available to you that will help you understand what you need to do your role effectively and to make those big decisions, and thus creating harmony across the organization. And all of this leads to live insights. So this allows you to be agile, helps you keep track of everything that is happening in your pipeline, and very importantly, it is going to help you to be profitable. We want you guys all to reach the finish line just like these folks, happy, smiling, and I guess in your work uniforms too. But we just want you to be able to empower yourselves into making those big decisions, and rest assured that you are making them correctly. And this will lead to profitability and ultimately, yes, the smiling faces that we see here. So this is the preamble. We're all here because we want to see the demo today. And you are probably thinking to yourself, well, how does this all work? Well, we will show you. Polaris is capable of so much. We can help you with analytics, governance, financial modeling, projects, practices, clients, resources, time and expense, financials, and so much more. But today we are focusing in on the resourcing aspect. So we're going to show you how we can optimize resourcing with SmartMatch. And that includes global resources, skills and certifications, request workflows, smart recommendations engines, and our resource forecasting. So without further ado, I know it's a pretty quick pace today. We only got half an hour. I'm going to pass things off to Silowath, and he is going to show you all of the resourcing capabilities of Polaris in action. Awesome. Thanks, Silowath. I see your screen. You are good to go.
Awesome. Thank you, Curtis. So everybody, welcome aboard. So first thing first, let me start off. All of you present here obviously understand that as a professional services organization, you know that your resources are the largest expense item you have and the biggest lever for you to optimize your profitability. Resources literally tie into project delivery, cost, billing, and revenue. Managing them to maximize utilization and uncover hidden efficiency is your biggest priority. Now, if the resources assigned to a project are not in line with the requirements, or they do not have the aligned skills required to complete their assigned tasks, this causes additional delays and budget overruns. And a lack of visibility into your resources globally or across multiple regions and their skills and availability also hinders your ability to execute these projects as efficiently as possible. This is what our resource management powered by Polaris, the self-driving PSA, helps you with. The platform does all the heavy lifting, analyzing resources for you, making recommendations based on your request, and can provide a single source of truth for resources, projects, practices, and everything else your organization needs to manage. For instance, this is what the resource management or the mission control for resource management looks like. So if I'm a resource manager taking care of all the resources or a resource director, right off the bat, I get to see all of that information. Do not worry about the other tabs because I've logged in as an administrator. That is why I have all of different options. But since I'm focusing or the primary focus towards is around resource management, we're going to cover this. So right off the bat, if I'm a mission control resource director or a resource manager, I can quickly go and see what our resource availability looks like given out by each of the single months. And we give you also color coding legends to kind of identify what these data points mean. For example, now you're getting, let's say from February 1st to October 31st, you're able to see how many hours is actually available or what is actually allocated towards different resources that you have. So here I see green, which pretty much says that there are close to 1600 hours that have been allocated. Whereas a blue color logo actually says that there are still pending requests that you should go ahead and assign resources to. Whereas things like, okay, we see there are close to 5,700 hours that still need to be allocated. So all these white spaces actually are red alerts for you to kind of understand that, yeah, that there are a good amount of resources that we can go ahead and utilize. And normally companies like to utilize their resources for a minimum of 70%. So that kind of information available right at your fingertips can quickly help you understand that, okay, we are not utilizing our resources the way we're planning. And this is just one piece of the puzzle, right? We not only consider the hours, but actually you can slice and dice information here as well. So if you want to see this by FTEs, you can actually see this by FTEs. And we also cover other pieces like time offs and holidays. So unlike other platforms, we make sure that all of these pieces are tied together and shown to you at one place so that you can actually see which are the employees who are on time offs and how those figures actually contribute directly on this resource allocation summary. That kind of view is easily available. And again, you can slice and dice information here based on how you'd like to see it. Daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, the onus is on you. Not just that, this on a high level is what I can quickly see. But if you want to be able to kind of assess and understand, okay, which employees do I have that have or possess specific skill sets? So you can actually filter your employees based on specific skill sets. So here I can see that, okay, I have close to 20 people that are good with business processes. They have those skill sets, whereas only 2 people with integration skills. So this kind of gives me a bird's eye view in understanding that, okay, maybe I need to hire more integration specialists tomorrow if I need more of those individuals. And the moment, let's say if I want to drill down even further and kind of identify, okay, which are the employees I have that possess these business processes and how do their calendars look like? How are they placed? That kind of information can quickly be seen under this timeline viewer. And I can see, okay, right off the bat, these are all the 20 employees that basically possess this business processes and how are they placed, broken out by each of the months on different projects. Sure, I can also see, okay, Tammy Benson in this case is actually pretty much booked on different projects. In these cases, she's actually over allocated. So if anybody's over allocated, we will notify you. If anybody's on time off, we will actually cover those pieces as well. So we have made sure that all these color coding legends are available to you so that you can slice and dice information here. You can kind of quickly assess and understand what is happening on each of these individual users. And not just that, in case you'd again like to slice and dice information here, you would like to get a weekly, monthly, a quarterly view, you can just select that and you'll be able to see a quarterly view as well. And around the same lines, let's say, okay, you see this is what your employees are, all of these at one single place sounds good. But then let's say if you want to be able to understand, okay, how many employees do we have in total and what they're, like how normally you pretty much have an HR system tracking all of the information about a specific resource, we can make sure that you also have all of that information in Polaris as well, so that you don't have to jump from one system to the other, from the one system to the other to kind of understand what your resources are. So right off the bat, I can see all my resources. I can see their employee IDs. I can see what roles do they play, who's the direct supervisor, which department they belong to, location, all of that necessary information at one single place. If I want to add or remove something, we also give you the option to actually remove this and add if in case you'd like to see those. Now, let's say I want to quickly assess or understand, okay, what does Alexander Armstrong look like? Okay, what role does he play? I can just click on that individual and quickly right off the bat, I see all the basic necessary information. In here, I can see, okay, uh, what is his email ID, the employee ID, what group does he belong to? Let's say, for example, consulting department, he's a full-time employee, he's based out of Calgary. All of this different kind of information is available to me right off my bat. Not just that, I can also see what roles does Alexander play, what skill sets does he possess, any certifications or licenses that he has. You can go ahead and add as many as you want. The more permissions he gets, the more equipped he gets. You can see that all of that information at one single place for you to kind of assess and understand what Alexander, how long has he been working with the company and all of that good stuff. Similarly, if I also want to, you want to have their resumes for your quick reference, you can also have their resumes profile directly populated to you so that you can see what they're working on. All of that information at one single place so that you don't have to jump from one system to the other. and make sure everything is consolidated and one single place. Similarly here, if I notice that, okay, business process here, now it is giving me a breakout of only the resources that basically possess those skill sets and how are they placed. So this, the onus is on you as to how you'd like to filter, how you'd like to kind of understand, make sense of the data so that you can see and understand and analyze data the way you'd like to. Similarly, not just that, let's say if you want to be able to understand based on specific roles, how are your employees booked? So here I can say, okay, these are all the list of roles. For example, let's say admin and billing managers. We only have one of each of these roles who or employees who play these roles, and they're pretty much booked for the entire month of February. Whereas starting March, their availability pretty much opens up, wherein we have good number of folks with business analyst roles, people who play developer role, and how their availability looks like. And again, this is not just you can filter based on specific roles, you can do it based on specific location if you want. So that if you have multiple locations, you can actually see based on location how many resources you have and how are you utilizing all of those resources. What is their availability like? Similarly, around the same lines, you can do it based on employee types. So if you have, let's say, contractor, full-time, salaried employees, based on those different parameters, different employee types, you'll actually be able to see them as well and what their availability looks like. So the onus is on you in kind of identifying how you'd like to see the information, and whatever appeals to you, you can use the system in terms of making sure that you see information that is relevant to you and your business. So based on department, if you want to see, you can do that. If I want to do it by percentages or hours or resources in terms of FTEs, I can actually go ahead and do that as well. So this much in a pretty, in a nutshell, this is what a resource management control would actually look like, wherein all of that information can be quickly and easily be seen and understand where employees are. But now, how will, let's say, a project manager, or how can a project manager raise basically a request for a specific project? Very simple and straightforward. So let's say if I'm a project manager, I can just go to a specific project and quickly right off the bat, I can see, okay, which are the different roles and the employees that are going to be filling those roles. And again, you don't necessarily have to have all of this in place. Let's say if you want to use a CRM in specific, wherein you have all of those opportunities and plans and resources that needs to be populated in Polaris, we can definitely look at integration wherein one system can talk to the other and all of that information can be pushed to Polaris as well. We have pretty much open with that and flexible. Similarly, right off the bat, let's say now, if I am a project manager, I want to raise a specific request. All you have to do is just click on, let's say, raise a resource request. Here I can just come in and actually state what kind of resource do I require. So I'm going to say, okay, based on all the different roles that we have in the system, you can say, okay, I basically require a billing manager in here. And we also have a cost rate assigned to a specific role. We understand this rate may differ from one project, from one client to the other. We give you a dynamic field here, where you can actually say, okay, instead of $65 an hour, I would only need somebody with $60. You can state all of that, and not just this, based on specific skill sets that you choose for a specific role, it'll automatically populate the different skill sets. So based on, let's say, architect role that I'm requesting for, I can see these are the different skill sets that these employee needs to possess. So we not only help you track skills based on specific roles like architect, here you can also say that, okay, I need somebody who is actually great with database design on this project. And this architect should also be great at software as a service. You can define all of these parameters and also make specific requests. So I can state as an example that I specifically need employees from a specific department. I can actually say, okay, I need somebody from an admin department. I can select what kind of employee should it be. Should it be an hourly, full-time, salaried? All of these different parameters. Let's say if you want or request for resources from a specific location, I can pick and choose that information so that when these parameters are pushed to the resource manager, they know what kind of data points they need to look for so that they can allocate the right resources. And then they can actually state, okay, what should be the time frame for which they require this, how many number of resources, how many hours is required out of this resource, and based on the cost value that we initially saw in here. For example, here we state $85 for this specific architect role. And based on the hours in here that is specified, it can also, Polaris is intelligent enough to also give you a forecast of what would be the requested cost if you go ahead and hit on submit. So once you define or decide all of these different parameters that, okay, this is what the employee I want, this is the role he should be playing, all of the information looks good, the project manager can just hit on submit request, and we will route notifications out of our system. So if you notice here, Under notifications, this is where we can actually route notifications in multiple ways. Whenever project manager submits a request, we will notify them. Let's say if some a resource has been proposed, we will notify the project manager. We will also notify resource manager in case they'd like to see. And there are a couple of ways we forward these notifications. It could be via web, via email, or even mobile push notification, because we also support mobile application that supports both Android as well as iOS, right? So right off the bat, I can say, okay, these are the resources requests that I've made. Now, all of these notifications, you can actually go ahead and see how this looks like. So let's say if I'd like to see all, I can just go ahead and quickly kind of understand what it looks like and how it would be moving forward. Similarly, once somebody goes ahead, let's say a project manager goes and submit this request saying, okay, this is a request that, or this is a request or resource that I basically want, it'll automatically populate it saying, okay, for this specific project, mobile app dev for trading, these are two resources that we have requested for. And then, as I said, we will route notifications. I've also attached a screenshot to kind of show you how mobile notifications would be routed to resource manager or as well as project managers. And then a resource manager basically would have a type called as resource project resourcing, wherein they can quickly come in and kind of assess and understand what new project resources have come in for approval. So here, if I come to project resourcing tab, I can see all the pending requests based on different projects. So right off the bat, let's say we can go ahead and find what our project was. I can see, okay, mobile app development for trading was a project. And right off the bat, I see, okay, there are two requests for this specific role. Now, all the resource manager has to do in this case is just click on, let's say, allocate resource here. Then the heavy lifting comes on to Polaris. Polaris does all the heavy lifting. It scans through all the employees that you have in the system, runs through their background, their availability, their skill set, the roles that they play, do all of that heavy lifting and kind of identify who's the best possible match for that specific individual. So it looks like we don't have a matching score for this. So let me pick another project in this case. Let's say IT maintenance. We have another resource field in there. Okay, let's say architect for this one. Now, once I go ahead and make a request or suggest, you would notice that based on the parameters submitted, all of that would automatically be populated to the resource manager in kind of identifying what information needs to be pushed from where and how they should be allocating resources. Give me a, let me find out a proper resources. Okay, let's say developer in this case. Looks like the reason we're not getting a smart match because we have filled in all of those resources. But now when I raise a request for a specific developer role in here, you see for this specific project, this is the time frame. System does the heavy lifting by running through all of the employees and gives you a smart match. Now, if you notice, the moment I go down, the smart match actually decreases. For instance, employees like Caroline, Stan, and Brenda, it gives me a smart match result of 96%. Wherein employees like, let's say, Michelle or Stacy, the smart match actually goes down. You may be wondering, how is this smart match coming in from? The moment I hover over this, I get to see, okay, the roles and skill set of Caroline actually matches from what the employees actually asked for. If I want to drill down even further and kind of understand, okay, how did Polaris give me this information? I can just click on that specific individual and it gives me their profile. So now I can actually see that, okay, Caroline is actually indeed a developer in here with additional roles that she plays and the skill sets that she possesses. It is also looking at their availability, previous projects they worked on, and not just that, also information like what department Caroline belongs to, what kind of employee she is, and which specific location does she belong to. All of this heavy lifting will be done by Polaris. So all your resource managers have to do is say, okay, once they identify that, okay, Caroline is the right individual, they can just select Caroline and then just go ahead and hit on propose. The moment they do this, you will notice that it automatically blocks that calendar, notifying that Caroline is going to be booked on this specific project for this time frame. That kind of heavy lifting will be done by Polaris so that you don't have to sit and worry about identifying the right resources. All of that will be automatically done by Polaris. And this is how information will be pushed. So I can just click on hit resource and it would automatically go to the project manager for approval. So the project manager then can actually go ahead and see if whatever resources have been allocated are the right resources or not. All of that information at one single place to kind of make sense of the data. Not just this, we can make our system talk to any BI tools that you may be using in the company. It could be Microsoft Power BI, Tableau, where you can quickly connect this and all of that information can be pushed to your Power BI to kind of understand how your resource plan looks like based on different roles you have, how profitable have you been, employees that have been over allocated based on roles. And not just that, you can also see what your resource availability is like. So the system is intelligent enough. Polaris as a platform can talk to multiple systems if you're using, to make sure you get all of that information at one single place so that you don't have to jump from one system to the other to kind of understand what needs to be done and what needs not to be. So this was around the web interface. But as I said, we also have the mobile application, wherein all of these functionalities that we spoke about right now, being able to have a resource summary view, being able to see resource availability based on specific skill sets, pretty much the same logic and same parameters, the same features are available from the mobile application, which means you don't have to be tied to your desktop or your laptop. On the fly, on your mobile app, you can just come in here, see all of the required information that you want, and then quickly go ahead and make a specific request for a specific resource or a project, or go ahead and even allocate resources, quickly kind of understand resource management so that you don't have to basically be trained on different resources or different ways to kind of identify how you can use the system. This pretty much in a nutshell is how we help you manage the entire resources in whole in Polaris. And I hope I was able to cover everything. This is what I wanted to show. And if you guys have any questions, please feel to reach out to us. Curtis, over to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Silawat. Thank you. Oh, sorry for interrupting you there. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, we will have a little bit of time at the end for a Q&A session. So feel free to go ahead and submit any of those questions in the question box. We're quickly going to do a recap of everything we saw today, look at a couple of different customer examples, and a quick review of who we are at Polaris and Replicon, and help to understand why Polaris platform is what it is. So our Polaris platform has so many moving parts, but what is so important is that they are all configurable. Almost every aspect of this platform can be configured to meet your organization's needs, and this includes being scalable. So whether you are that 10-employee startup or that 1 million employee established organization, we can grow and evolve with you and make sure we are continually meeting your organization's needs. And this includes being global and secure on the cloud. So obviously with any cloud product, you want as much uptime as possible. And we have 99.9% uptime with all your data being secure. And we are global. So as Silwath demonstrated a little bit earlier, we have a platform that is capable of being with employees wherever they are in this globe. We have multiple languages, currencies, time zones, holiday schedules, payrolls. The list goes on. We are ensuring that you can run Polaris wherever you need it to run. And this includes being on the go. So as Silawat demonstrated, we are mobile first. We have our native mobile app that was built from the ground up to ensure that it has full functionality across the board. And you can access all that data when you need it. So you can harvest it all in real time. Again, we don't want you waiting for this information to filter through. You can log it as soon as it happens, and it will be available to anyone who needs that information. And we make all of these processes so efficient with our artificial intelligence. So whether you are an end user or an administrator, we will have artificial intelligence through our platform with things like Smart Match, as you saw in action, or our chatbot that just makes sure that everyone's lives are simple. And finally, we are plug and play. So here's a couple of the different platforms and programs that we can integrate with. And this by no means is the exhaustive list. If you have your own homebrew, we can very likely even connect with that. And this just ensures that we have none of these data silos. We want you to get your information where it needs to go. And so we make that possible with our plug and play ecosystem. And really, this ensures that we can find a home in any organization. And having an amazing product is only half the battle. You need an amazing team behind it. And with Polaris, we have that. Our implementations are done so fast. We will get you on your feet in no time. We have a customer success manager for every single one of our clients. And this just ensures that you have someone who knows your account inside and out and can really ensure that you are being advocated for and getting what you need to help your organization run as efficiently as possible. And on top of that, we do have 24/7 support. So no matter where you are, you will always be able to get someone on the line who can help you with anything that may pop up. And on top of that, we have ongoing training. So whether it be our webinar series like we have now, YouTube videos, or our customer forum where you can collaborate with other Replicon users and maybe find some new tips and tricks, we are always making sure that you are empowered to use Polaris to its full capabilities. And this is because Polaris was created by Replicon, and we are a veteran in the industry. We have over 20 years in the business, 500 plus team members across the globe with over 7,800 customers in 70 different countries, and 42% of our budgets go into R&D to ensure that our platform is constantly evolving and changing to meet every single one of your needs. And here is a couple examples of the customers we currently work with. And I'm sure you noticed that they cover a ton of different use cases, and this really just exemplifies how flexible our Polaris platform truly is. And we'll see that in a couple of demonstrations here in action. So we actually had a financial services firm, and previously they were using, I know, gasp, manual spreadsheets, and that can be a nightmare. And that led to an inability to scale, inaccurate project scoping, limited project forecasting, and slow billing. And it just made everything so much more difficult because when you're crunching the numbers by hand, it never turns out properly, as I'm sure we've all experienced. But after implementing Replicon and Polaris, they had a modern interface with real time visibility and improved forecasting, and this created a centralized solution that increased utilization by 5 to 10%. Another example here is we had an IT services firm, and they had field engineers, and field engineers were all entering their data into different areas. This created data silos. And then when it came time to make decisions, they were pulling information from tons of different places, trying to compare it, understand what was relevant, what made sense, what was inaccurate. And it just became a problem. And this led to inaccurate data, cash flow problems, and inaccurate billing. And this all started to snowball, and one problem led to another. And before long, they did not know where their problems were cropping up from, as we explored a little bit earlier in the PowerPoint presentation. So they needed an intervention if they wanted to get things on the right track. And that intervention was Polaris. After implementing Polaris, they had that holistic view across all their locations, that single source of truth of time that they needed to make those big decisions. And this allowed them to have that real time actionable data so they could make those decisions when they needed to be made. And this created big cultural change in the organization because no more were they arguing and deciding who was right, who was wrong. They had all the information they need to make decisions as a group. And this just really created a cohesiveness amongst the organization. There are so many benefits to Polaris. We can increase your solved revenue leakages, increase resource utilization, decrease administrative overhead. What we are doing, amongst many other things, is empowering you to make those big decisions and run your organization more efficiently. This is Polaris. It is the world's first self-driving PSA, and we are delivering harmony with smart decisions. So that is all for our demo today and our webinar. I will dive into any questions if you have folks have submitted any. Um, let's see. I do have one quick question here, it looks like. Is Polaris a brand new product? You mentioned Replicon. Yes. So Polaris, well, yes and no, I guess. Polaris is brand new for Replicon. It is so different than anything else that we've done before and anything else on the market for that matter. There are so many new features that we built upon our previous knowledge as the time intelligence platform. So we really took the previous platform that we had and expanded upon it. So you'll still see